Her ongoing contributions to the film and television industry continue to resonate with audiences around the world and have made her an indispensable force in the industry. Welcome, Karen.
Look good? Okay. Hi. Administration and faculty here at Toronto Film School, distinguished guests near and far, and graduates. Most importantly, thank you for having me here today. Before I got here today, I wasn't sure who got me here, but now I found out that it was Andrew Barnsley. It was his inspired idea to drag me off my regular comfort couch, where I was perfectly content or distressed, depending on which of the past 2 weeks we're talking about. But the request really shook me because the last convocation address I gave was at my high school graduation in Jamaica in 1984. But wait. Before you clap too much, it wasn't because I was at the top of my class, because I definitely was not. It was actually because the higher-ups, these people at my high school, they knew that I was comfortable in front of a crowd and that I could actually tell a good story. English was my best subject. So, talking about stories, I don't think we're anything without our stories. I don't think we've ever existed as a species without our stories. I mean, it started with hieroglyphics on the sides of caves, migrations, which are literally starting in one place and ending in another. What is that if not a story in itself? Folk songs, you have Taylor Swift, who is just west of us right now. The reason why she's so beloved is because she tells great stories in her songs, rap lyrics, news, religious texts, church testimonies, daydreams that we make up our own stories. Stories permeate every aspect of our lives. The telling, what you all do, along with me, through acting and writing and producing and designing graphics and games, that shapes our imaginations and it sparks us. It documents who we are, where we are, who with, who against, what came before, and what's to come. You all are our next gen storytellers. I'm going to tell you a bit of my story, what I think I know from 30 years, give or take, in this storytelling business. Now, listen, you don't have to heed what I say, except, for the following. Please floss, please do your taxes, and please vote. But other than that, much of what I say today might not even sink in, but if anything I say is right for you, at some point during your lives, during your own stories, it will sink in. I'm still having epiphanies about what people told me decades ago, and frankly speaking, I hope those epiphanies never stop, because you know what? They feel like little gold stars from the past. You know how you get those gold stars on your assignment. They congratulate me, and they tell me, good on you for finally getting it. And they encourage me to keep opening up and learning about myself. So one thing I've learned is that you actually have to do the work every single time. I know beyond the shadow of a doubt that talent and good luck aren't all that brought me this far in my own story. I actually work really, really hard, partly because I learned what it feels like when I don't work hard, right? The disappointment in myself, the disappointment from my colleagues, the shame that comes with that. I don't need to be feeling that all the time, so I try to work hard all the time. So, for instance, I'm an actor. I don't simply memorize my lines. I figure out what the thought is behind each of my lines. Because one of my best teachers told me years ago that there's a thought that begins before you actually start talking, and then there's a thought that carries on afterwards. I used to, for my auditions and stuff, I used to write the thoughts in before my lines and after my lines, and then I'd learn my lines with those thoughts in mind, get the words into my body, make them second nature, so that as long as I remembered to breathe, I am sure your teachers tell you, remember to breathe, that breath expanded the room for all the magic to happen. I could then put all the work behind me. I could even forget about the work, and then magic would happen as soon as I remembered to breathe. But here's the thing about that. When I would learn my lines for auditions and do all that work before the audition, most of the time I didn't even get the part. It used to knock my socks off. I would be like, how the did I not get that part? I'll work my off. Right? I'm better now, but it took about 30 years. And sure, there are so many reasons why one may or may not get the part, and many of those reasons are completely out of our control. But there's another point that I want to make here. We all have goals. That's why you're here today. You want to be an actor. Well, you want to be a working actor. You want to be a working writer, a graphic designer, film producer, video game creator. Listen, I came across an idea a while ago that really struck me, courtesy of someone named Kute Blackson that I found on Instagram. That the goal is actually just a cosmic carrot that forces us on the journey towards it. Because the journey is what is most important. All that work that I put into those roles that I didn't get taught me about myself, how to become more of myself, more resilient, more compassionate, how to process disappointment, how to forgive myself, how to budget, because, you don't get the job, you don't get the money from the job, and you still have to pay your rent, right? So there was that. Not to mention that the sheer repetition of that work ended up making me a better actor. So let's talk more about this journey. I still take public transit. Now, I didn't take public transit here today because, all this glam, and I wasn't going to mess it up with TTC. But I still use it when I'm just, myself, because I believe in supporting it, and I actually believe that a fast and dependable and well-funded public transit system is a fairer and more sustainable way of reducing gridlock. But, thank you very much. But that's a discussion for another time and place. You can meet me out in the lobby. Anyway, the temptation that I think many of us have when we're on TTC is to do this. Right? Well, yeah, I bet you some of you are on your phones right now. Or if you're like my 94-year-old father, you're like this. No, honest to God, I love him and he loves YouTube. Anyway, he amazes me. I'm just gonna, take a little tangent here. This is a man who learned how to read and write using a slate. If you know, it's like a little chalkboard and chalk. And now when he wants something from me, the man just WhatsApps me. And I'm like, he is a marvel to me. Anyway, back to TTC. So one day, I'm like this on the TTC, and then I started looking up, and I realized that everybody around me was doing the same thing. And I thought about it, how tempting it is. I know how much of a reflex it is to reach for your phone, like when you're in the supermarket checkout line and that sort of thing. I am not judging you. I absolutely get it, because you can disappear into a safe space. You don't have to make eye contact. You don't have to have like uncomfortable conversations competitions with anybody. You can Candy Crush and you can Scrabble and you can watch people doing really cringe things while you're still talking to your mom and you're texting your friend about that really important thing that just can't wait, right? I mean, life is moving at light speed and we just gotta keep up. But think about it though, think about it. Life and real stories, they're happening at the back of that streetcar. And yes, I know, sometimes it's a really good idea that when those stories are happening, we get off and wait for the next streetcar. I have absolutely 100% been there. But if you're on your phone, you might miss that cue, right? Life and real stories are happening outside the window. Normal, everyday, banal, brutal, surprising, sobering, joyful, maddening, depressing, amusing life. You're missing that. And I think that's my final offering to you. Pay attention. Pay attention on your journey. Don't miss the angels and the warnings and the experiences that are put in your path as you go for that cosmic carrot, that goal. You will need them in order to tell the world stories. Those stories are how we know ourselves, who we are as families and as communities and as societies and as a global nation. Now, P.S., to the parents and the friends and elders and families of all persuasions, I know that some of you would rather that your graduates had chosen a different path. My very Jamaican mother said to me, "You should go learn typing. Give yourself something for fall back upon." Right? Because she loved the bones off of me and she just wanted me to be okay. But here's what I think, especially these days, nothing is guaranteed. I mean, it was always thus. But in the past couple of weeks, we've learned that the rosy belief that we can predict the future, meh. So your loved ones may as well do what makes them happy, what allows them to walk their journeys with purpose and with passion. I promised you that if they are supposed to be doing something else, that will become clear in time. This, what they are doing now, this is meant to lead to that. This is just another part of their journey. And finally, kids and kids at heart and starter overs, again, stay present for the journey. It truly is everything. Look out the window, take in the world around you, and then tell the stories. I am so excited for what you're about to bring to our industry. Congratulations on making it this far, and thank you all for your time.